Hello everybody, my name is CulBlu and I'm bringing out this video of me talking about a board game, reviewing a board game, and today we're going to be doing a review of Fromage. Not Formaggio or Formaggio, because Formaggio I have on my shelf as well. But we're going to talk about Fromage, and we'll also talk about Formaggio as well. But first, let me go ahead and start our background music, and let's do some different guitar music. Yeah, let's go with that. Yeah, that's fine. Sure. Instead of lo-fi, we'll go with some guitar-fi. I don't know. We'll see if it's a vibe. All right. But as far as this game goes, Fromage is essentially a worker placement game where players will simultaneously place their workers, and then you'll rotate the board and you'll play some more workers and stuff. So there's a lot of cool things going on with this game. First, I'm going to go ahead and go through just kind of set up, teach the rules, generally speaking. And then I'll finally get to the things that I like about this game, things I don't like about this game, and then give a rating, and then get to the end of everything and summarize things. So if you want to see just the pros and cons, skip to that section. If you want to see just a review, skip to that section. But for here, I'm going to go ahead and go through a lesson on the game. That way you can kind of have some context for what's going on. So I do have the little Lazy Susan mat that you could buy extra. So I have that here. That's what this little mat is. So I'm going to use that for the review. So, of course, if you have the little Lazy Susan thing, then you can use it too. But essentially, you'll take the little nub that it gives you there. Sorry, I should probably... There you go. Little piece here. It's like a little cheese on it. And you put that under the board. Like so. And then you'll take your pieces for the board. I have my I have the two-player pieces, the two-player overlays set in there already. But just to kind of explain what I mean, actually, I'll just flip them, sure. So we can switch it up a little bit. There's different little inserts here for each board that you'll have, and these inserts will allow you to change the player count. So you can see down here, this is a 1 and 2 player, so I'm going to use that one because I'm going to just do a solo demo here. I'll switch it to side 1 and put that back inside of the cardboard. Oh my gosh, jeez. Sorry, this looks better view of what's happening here. There you go. And then I'll do that for the rest of them. There we go. Cool. And I appreciate that it does that because it scales based on player count. Of course, the little marked out spots are spots where you cannot put anything. That's what that means, just in case it wasn't clear there. And speaking of not clear there, oh my gosh, man, my camera has been having some focus issues, and I don't know if I can really fix it, but here we are. Here's where we're stuck. Continuing on, I'm going to put this here, like so. Oops. Like that. And then you can put these boards here in whatever order you want to put them in. I like to just kind of randomly throw them in there, because that way it kind of changes up the game, changes the strategy a little bit, gives a little bit of variance here and there with just the 4 pieces. Okay, and then once you do that, make sure they're all settled in there. There we go. And then you will take the top piece. It comes with 2. There we go. Just had them. There we go. You'll take the top piece, and it's double-sided. Just a little bit of a random orientation for those, and you'll put them in whatever orientation you want. There's no right way. This is what kind of also adds to the randomization for the game. And then finally, you take your little topper. You'll put it in there with little gear notches that it has there, or little notches, whatever you want to call them. And you twist that so it locks in, and there you go. You now have your little Lazy Susan. Your nice Lazy Susan to protect your board game with a neoprene mat. All right, I'm going to switch this over a little bit to the side so I can have some space here because we don't need to see everything at the same time. But that is just kind of some of the setup here. I'm going to go ahead and take 2-player boards, and I will place these in a way... Oh, I didn't mean to do that. I'm going to place these in a way to where you can kind of see them because I have my camera set up with my other source. So here's the second player, here's the first player. We'll go ahead and go through just some of the general playthrough stuff. Man, camera focus is gonna kill me here. All right, so every player is gonna get their workers. There's gonna be 3 workers for every player. So the blue player is gonna have theirs over here too. Let's put theirs on their board so you can see it. They're gonna have the 3 workers. They're gonna be the 3 different type of cheeses. They're gonna be the hard cheese, the soft cheese, and the blue cheese. And then every worker or every player is gonna get their 15 cheese wedges. They're going to get those, and they're going to essentially put them somewhere nearby. The game end trigger happens when one player has run out of cheese pieces. then all the other players will finish their turn, and then the game will be over. So I'll put these guys, I'll put that one there. And then you will go ahead and gain resources based on what board or where you are positioned. So everybody's going to be sitting in front of a certain quadrant. So in a 4-player game, you have one person assigned to each place. If you're playing at a table like I am, where there's 2 people sitting on this side, 2 people sitting on that side, you can just orient the board like that, where this person is oriented towards that board, this person over here is oriented towards that one, so on and so forth. But for right now, I was going to keep it like it is. Oh, well, I guess that was proper. Keep it like it is. This section is oriented to this player. This section is oriented to this player. And you'll look at your board, and it's going to tell you based on your orientation. So if I rotate this like that, what starting resources you're going to get. So I'm going to get 2 starting resources for houses. And I'm going to get 1 starting resource of fruit. Okay, cool. So I get 2 houses. And I get 1 fruit. Now there are a variety of different fruits because I have Fromage and Formaggio. I have both of them, and I mix them together. But a fruit is a fruit, so it doesn't matter if it's a peach or a strawberry or grapes or whatever. Just grab your 2 fruits and put them in the basket to show that they are not committed. They are not sliced fruit. They are not jammed fruit. They are just whole fruit that are in your basket and have not been processed yet. All right, and additionally, we're going to go over to the villa area, and we're going to take these pieces here that are going to be, there's going to be 6 of them, 2 of each of the levels, level 1, level 2, level 3. And then we're going to mix them as best we can, and then we're going to put them in their relative spots randomly. Like so. And that's going to be for the area majority. And I'll explain each of these play areas and how they work as we go along. But just for now, I'm just going to explain it from this person's perspective, not that person's perspective. Okay. So I'm playing double-handed here, and I feel playing is the easier way to teach than just telling you all the rules and just hoping that you all retain it. So let's go over some basic things first. Oh, I got too many fruits here. I'm sorry. Should have got 1 instead of 2. Going over some basic things here. For each person, they're going to be facing a single quadrant. They're going to be facing a single section of the board, and they can only interact with that section, not other sections, but only this section, or their player board, or their player board. So for me, for instance, I can only interact with the festival area because the festival area is currently pointing to me. And for my opponent, they'll be they're off screen a little bit, but they can only interact with the villa area because they're pointed towards the villa area. So for me, again, I'm going to explain it from my perspective here. I'm not going to explain this one yet until it gets around to me. I'm going to play maybe 2-3 rounds. Depends on how much my brain wants to commit to playing double-handed here, and then we'll finish up there and we'll talk about the actual review of pros and cons, and then we'll move on. Okay. A few concepts around our board here. Our player board has a few pieces of information. So I'm going to use this one over here because it's going to be a little bit clearer for us to see. So this player board is my opponent's player board. Wow, that's not clear. Opposite of clear. It's as clear as it's going to get. All right, I'll take it. I'll just don't mess with it. For this, the player board, you'll see a few different pieces of information. One, you'll see kind of a top row, a middle row, and a bottom row. You'll also see a side area over here. You'll see some scoring stuff listed all over. And so I'll explain those things in different pieces. So starting off with this top row, these are different buildings that you can build. They do not have to be built in any specific order, but you do need to build it completely. So it's either all or nothing before you can actually activate the effect. So let's say, for instance, if my opponent had this many houses, this many buildings in their stock for some reason, they could choose to, in one foul swoop, just kind of build this, this building, which will then activate this passive ability. So whenever they build a cheese in the fromagerie, they'll get a free objective card. And then let's say they did this here. This opens up this spot, so that way they can now put a worker there. So they'll be able to put a worker there to get a cow, and then they can spend these 3 here for this one. So again, they can do this in whatever order they want. You can build a building, you cannot build a building. The main thing is that when you build the building, you'll be able to get the effect that's listed on the board here. And if there's any confusion about what these do, you can look at the rulebook. The rulebook has an explanation for each one about what it does and how it works. So that's the top row section. The middle row section is for animals. The animals, they have a lot of different varieties of animals. An animal is an animal. So you have goats, you have bulls, you have cows, you have sheep, rams, all this stuff. But these are just animals. The way the animals work is essentially on your turn, as a free action during your turn, you can choose to take your animals to one of the markets. Now these markets can only be activated once per game, so if I activate this one in the early game, then late game I cannot activate it again. But essentially, you send the number of animals that you need to, all or nothing again in this situation too. And this will allow you to place a soft cheese on a bronze area, bronze plate, bronze location, bronze spot, bronze table, whatever it is for the particular area. So that allows you to kind of get a secondary placement. And if you have enough animals to do like all of them at once, you can place 1, 2, 3, 4 plus 1, or your normal placement. So you can place like 5 cheeses at once if you time it right and just get a stockpile of animals. So that can play out however you would want to play it out. And then finally, the fruit. The way the fruit works, and this one I'll talk about from my board since it's a little bit better review. As far as the way the fruit works is, let's assume that I had this many fruit here. When I decide to build a cheese, and I'll explain how this works later, but when I decide to build a cheese, if I'm building a cheese on a spot that needs a sliced fruit or a jammed fruit, then I must move a fruit from my basket over to the appropriate area. So in this case, I put a hard cheese on top of this spot, and it needs a sliced fruit. So I'm going to move. I moved one of my fruits over here to this area, and the way this works is that once it's over here into either the sliced area or the jammed area, it cannot be converted again. So you need to get more fruit so you can continue moving over here. And at the end of the game, the victory points you'll get from these will be basically your chopped fruit times your jammed fruit. So if you have 5 of these and 4 of these, then you'll have 20 points at the end of the game. If you have 7 of these and 2 of these, you have 14 points at the end of the game, so on and so forth. So you really want to try to diversify that if you can. That's one of the big asks, or the big point gains for that, I should say. All right, cool. So that's kind of our player board. Down here you have contracts that you can complete as you get those cards, which will be these cards here. And you'll essentially score points based on how many you finished. So that's pretty straightforward. Okay, I forgot to give my opponent their starting stuff. So their starting stuff, they will be getting, based on the orientation, they'll be getting 2 starting objectives, unfinished. These can be private or public information. It's up to you how you want to play at your table. But I like to keep it private in a 2-player game. Actually, consult the rulebook. I think the rulebook says they must be face up. But okay, sure. And then they're also going to get 1 house. Like that. Oh, and objective cards. I'm glad we're looking at those now. Looking at the opponent's board. Did it freeze already? Ugh, gross. There we go. Looking at the opponent's board, the way these objective cards works is essentially whenever you build a cheese on a silver plate, so in this case a soft cheese on a silver plate, you will be able to complete that objective and you score it. Now this is not a retroactive thing. This is after you have the card, if you then build this thing sometime in the future, then you'll be able to score it. So it's not a retroactive thing. So you have to be very careful about that. Also, if you have multiple of the same type of cheese, I think you can only count 1 at a time. I need to check the rulebook for that. I don't think it's ever happened in a game that I've been playing, but it could possibly happen, so definitely consult the rulebook for that. Okay, cool. Now we got that all settled. Let's go on into our placement. So for the different areas, they'll play different ways, and I'm actually going to zoom in a little bit closer here. I thought I was going to zoom in closer. Nope. Oh, I'm on the wrong camera. Ugh, this is gonna kill me here. There we go. Boom, zoomed in. All right, scooch over just a little bit, just a smidgen. Boom, perfect. There we go. That's the view. That's the view we're looking for. So the festival area will play different from the rest of the areas, but the way the festival area works is essentially you want to get as much of your cheese as you can adjacent to each other. The more you do, the more points you'll get. So if I get 5 cheeses adjacent to each other, and by that I mean this will count as 3, 4, 5, like that. So if we count this at the end of the game, these wild spots will count for everybody who's near it. So for me, I would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 cheeses there. So I will get 9 victory points at the end of the game. And if I have 2 different non-connected sets, like so, then I will score those 2 individually. So this will give me 9 points, and this one will give me 1, 2, 3, 4. This will give me 6 points, so I get 15 points for that. So essentially you want to do that, and of course once the cheese is placed in a spot, it cannot be used by anybody else. Typical worker placement stuff, you're blocking somebody from taking the spot, that kind of thing. So that's how that works. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and play my area. I can also play up here with a worker, so I can do this and this. And if I built my garden shed, which I think I most certainly, yeah, most certainly will. Well, yeah, there's no way for me to get another house, is it? Yeah, shoot. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and build my garden shed. I can put a worker here. So I'm gonna demonstrate that here in this turn. So I'm gonna go ahead and I think I will go ahead and take this big move because it'll allow me to do an example later. So I take one of my cheeses, put it there. And that's going to secure that spot, and I get to move this into a sliced fruit spot because that's what it was when I put it there, a little sliced fruit spot. And then I'm going to take a worker and put him here because that spot's available for me. That's going to give me a fruit. And then finally, I'm going to take a worker and put it there. And that's going to give me an objective card. I probably should do that in the other order. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. No harm, no foul. All right, I got myself a yellow cheese with a silver plate, so it should be fine. Okay, so that is this person's turn. This other person, they'll be going at the same exact time, so I'm going to go ahead and play their turn without explaining much what they're doing. Let's see, they're gonna. Well, I'll talk about it as I'm going. See, they can do that and that. Ooh, yeah, they're definitely gonna. Oh, they don't have any fruit. Dagnabbit. Are there any silver plates? Nope. All right. Well, they're gonna go ahead and take a big. Try to take a big move. Man, a lot of restrictions here. They're gonna do that, like so. And oh, I should probably zoom out so you can see what I'm doing. Sorry, they did that like so, and then they are going to gain themselves some cows. How many cows? Just one. Keep it simple. All right, they got themselves one cow. They built a hard cheese on a gold plate, so they will score this one here. So at the end of the game, they're getting some points. And yeah, there you go. Okay, cool. So now we're done. We're gonna go ahead and rotate this board. And this is where the fun starts, in my opinion. So once the board has been fully rotated 1/4 for everybody, what you do is you'll look at the board. I'm keeping zoomed out here so we can kind of see a little bit better. You look at the board and you look at the area that you're in. So I'm here. And you look at any workers, any of your workers who are pointing to you, not your opponents, but your workers, they'll come back home. So this worker is currently pointing to me, and you can use this triangle here. You can use this triangle here as your guide if you need to. So this triangle is facing that triangle, so therefore I get this one back. So that worker comes back. This worker is also facing me, and they'll come back to me as well. That worker is facing away from me, and you'll notice that that worker is on a gold plate. So one general rule of thumb is that the 3 spots in the gold plates, they will come back to you in 3 turns. The 2 spots in silver plates will come back to you in 2 turns, and the bronze plates in the 1 spots will come back to you in the next turn, as well as your ones that you have on your board, of course. So that's important to note because you can use that to kind of time and hopefully not run out of workers because you only have 3 of them. You'll never get any more. You only have 3. So you have to be very careful with that. Subsequently, my opponent, they will get this worker back. And that's it. They will not get this worker back because they're facing away from my opponent. I will not get that worker back because they're facing away from me. So that's how that works. Okay, cool. Let's zoom back in and let's continue our playthrough now that we've explained some of the cool things here. For the villas, the way the villas work is essentially area majority. Whoever has the most of their cheese placed in these particular areas, they'll be able to claim the marker that's there. So that's important to know because these are worth varying points. Like this 3-person one, these 3 client one is worth 5 points. This 1 client one is worth 3 points. So you want to definitely get the most points you can. So for me, my opponent has already taken that spot. So drat, how dare they take the spot I wanted? Curses, I say. Oh, I couldn't even do that spot anyway. Never mind. But I coulda. No, I couldn't have. I could not have. So I want to try to do this, but I can't. Unless I get Ooh, no, I don't have the right. I don't have the right animals here. I was gonna say I can get cows to make this a better thing for me, but no, I can't. No cow is gonna save me from this because my farmer area will give me different type of cheeses. Notice my opponent has different combinations there too. So for their 3-spot, they get a hard cheese and a silver plate. For my 3-spot, I get a soft cheese and a silver plate. So it'll be different for everybody's player board. All right, let me focus on my turn here. I do want to try to get some animals. I don't know how many though. I have a fruit, so I can take advantage of that. I don't think my opponent's going to have any fruits, so I don't think I need to rush to get the fruit spots. I really want to get my feet in this area. There's only 3 spots left, and they're going to cost me 2 turns. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take this spot because it gets me in competition with this, and it also gets me in competition with this. So I'm kind of countering there. The way this works here for the villas as well is that in addition to gold taking 3 turns, silver taking 2 turns, bronze taking 1 turn. You'll notice that the bronze spots are only going to be in 1 region. The silver spots are going to be in 2 regions, and the gold spots are going to be in 3 regions. So, choose wisely. So I've committed to that one, and I'm going to go ahead and get myself a cow or a bull, and it's going to be it. My opponent, they're going to take their move. They're going to do. Ooh, they got some options. They have no fruit, but they can get a fruit. Yeah, they'll take advantage of that. So they're going to do that. Actually, no, they need more than just 1. They're going to do that and get 3 fruits. Sorry, they're doing that to get 3 fruits. And they're going to do this to cash in that fruit. And that was a sliced fruit. And it goes on. Oh, yeah, that's it. Okay. All right, so everybody's done. Now we go. And again, everybody would be normally playing simultaneously, but because I'm playing solo, I'm, double fisting the players here. Well, double fist is not the right word, but I'm dual handing twin-headed dragon, I guess. The plays here. That's how that's working. All right, so I get this worker back. My opponent is going to get this worker back, and then we're continuing. I'll zoom in for the bistro to explain that. So for the bistro, the way this one works is essentially you will score points at the end of the game based on how many plates that you have your stuff on, but you'll score more points if you have the entire table. So for instance, if my opponent next time around gets another cheese here, because they're the blue player, they get another cheese here, then they'll be scoring on this track because they have 1 table that they've claimed both spots. And then of course they get 3 tables, they'll get more, and the points will scale based on how many tables you own. So it could be beneficial for me to just block my opponent if I could. I say if I could because I only have this 1 soft cheese, so I can't really block them because I need a blue cheese. But it's just a thing to think about. So in this particular case, I have 1 fruit. I could get more fruit to save up for later. It's for a bigger turn later. Because next turn, I'm going to get 2 workers back. So I can just get all 3 back and call this one a loss. I think I'm going to go ahead and get 2 fruits. Because I want to stock up on the fruits. Actually, no, I only need 1. Yeah, I'll take 1 fruit. Because I have this built. Alright, so I'm done. My opponents, they're going to go with their spots. So for them, zoom back out. For them, let's see, they only got 1 worker. And they're on the table side. Let's see, they got a fruit. So they can do... Ooh. Yeah, they'll do that. It's risky, but they'll do it. I'll put that there, go there, and they'll get themselves a chopped fruit. Cool, done. Everybody's committed and done. Oh, actually, no. Yeah, they're committed. They're done. We move on to the next turn. All right. Cool. So I'm gonna let my opponent do their turn here, and then I'll jump back in and do my turn because I don't want to keep zooming in, zooming out. So I get all 3 of my workers back, which is nice. My opponent, they get only 1 worker back because their workers are facing in the incorrect directions. And then they're going to go ahead and just take a objective card. That's all they're going to do for their turn. they don't see any big benefit to going. They're going to get all their workers back next turn now. All right, cool. Now that we're done with my opponent's turn, now we're going to zoom in, and we'll do this. Let's see what time we're at. Yeah, we'll finish up with this. I was going to do one more rotation, but I think you guys get the picture. All right, let me continue. I got all my workers here, so let me try to have one big extravagant ending here. All right. So the way this location works, I did explain the tables. Okay. The way this location works is essentially you'll score points based on how many different tables that you have your cheeses at. So if you have a cheese on each table, you'll score 20 points, which is a lot of points. Additionally, you'll score points at the end of the game based on how many cheeses you have on these tables with the victory point thing. And then also during the game, when you put a cheese in one of these three spots on one of these three tables, one of these two spots in this case, because this spot is not available on these three tables, then you'll be able to get the reward. This one is discard any resource to gain a resource. This one's just gain a single resource. This one's gain 2 resources that are not the same. So that's what all that means and all that stands for. So I think we're gonna go all out, like I said. We're gonna do, ooh, that's a good move. We're gonna put this here for 3. We're gonna get 3 houses. That's 4. And then we're gonna build a calf barn. Like so. And then we're gonna build like I said, we're gonna go all out. Oh, no, I messed up, sorry. We built the 3 with that one, sorry, because I'm trying to go for this point. All right, so we got 3 houses, we built the calf barn thing. We're gonna do this for the hard cheese that's on a silver plate. That's gonna give us this scored. And we get a resource of our choice. We're gonna get a cow. And oh, would you look at that? I got an animal, so I get another animal. So I'll take myself a goat. I got 3 animals, and on top of that, I'm gonna spend all 3 animals. Like I said, I'm gonna go out big here, y'all. Let's see, can I do, there's no fruit for that one. There is a fruit for this one, but it's on the same table. Ugh, I don't know if I want that. This is a max of once per turn, so I cannot trigger this a second time, but it will give me a fruit. Okay, yeah, we'll do that. All right, so we're gonna spend 3 here. I really don't want to do that. I really don't want to do that. Yeah. We're gonna commit to it. I don't want to, but we're gonna commit to it because it doesn't matter. And then we get to put a fruit, or we get to put a cheese on any spot. I'm gonna put it there. A soft cheese on a silver plate. So soft cheese, silver plate. I could do here or here. Actually, I'm gonna do over here. Because I was thinking about making the fruit so I can have some points here. But again, I mean, we're not gonna continue. And that would give me a resource, but this is gonna give me 2 points in the game and a different table. So I'm gonna be able to get up into the rankings here. So yeah, I'm gonna call that a good move. We're all done. And that's pretty much it. You pretty much just continue doing that for the rest of the game until the game's over. The game ends once again once somebody runs out of their pieces. It doesn't matter who, just somebody. Once somebody places their last cheese, it will be the last round for everybody. And then after that happens, you add up your points based on the scoring rubric that's on the back of the rulebook. You'll score points based on your objectives. Down here, you'll score points based on your fruits. You'll score points based on your buildings. If you have any building scorings that are specifically listed, you'll score points based on each arena scoring as well. And then whoever has the most points wins. And in the event of a tie, whoever has the most cheese placed out will win. And if there's still a tie, then it's a shared victory. And that's the entire game. All right, cool. That took a while. I'm glad we made it through it though. So let's go ahead and get into the things that we liked, we didn't like, the things that I liked, the things I didn't like, and just the general, feeling and vibes of the game. So things that I like, I love the fact that this is a simultaneous worker placement game. I don't know if there's any other game that's kind of done things like this one. This is just such a really cool aspect of like having just kind of this rotating board. It's technically, I don't want to say it's like multiplayer solo, because you're still competing with your opponents and you're kind of watching across the table to see what people are doing. But on the same token, like you're not that focused on what they're doing, just kind of saying, okay, here's my board state. How do I interact with it? You put your workers, you do the things, you get the things you need, and then you move on to the next board and it's like, okay, all right, now here's my board state. How do I kind of go with this? And this is like an interesting mix of like a tactical situation to where you have to, just kind of board state by board state by board state. You got to figure out what you're going to do. You got to adjust. You got to adapt. And then also, strategy, long-term strategy side of things, to where you're trying to make a long-term overarching strategy. There was a situation that I had in my playthrough, to where, and I'll zoom out here so we can see the entire board. There's a situation where I had my playthrough to where I really wanted to put something in one region, one area of the board I was facing, but I knew, like for instance, let's say it was a blue cheese. Like, I really need to do, let's see. Let's say I really need my hard cheese guy, so I get him back this round anyway. Let's say I really need my hard cheese guy, to be over here for this because I'm trying to score more points on my jam. That means that I need to make sure that I don't lock him up for 3 rounds. So I could put it there, but that'll, or well, I guess I could put him here, which will give me a jam, which is cool. But the problem is that I won't have them for over there where I really want them because I want to put my hard cheese there. So that means that I need to plan appropriately. So I can put them on a silver plate at best. So I can do a silver plate hard cheese, or I can maybe just use this over here to get some cows, or use this down here to get some fruit. And it's like this kind of interesting puzzle of like you trying to figure out how do you want to place things, how do you want to put things in places. So you have like that long-term strategy going on. From that aspect, but that again, that tacticalness of like, okay, here's the board state, 2 people have blocked me from the thing I wanted. I got to figure out how I'm going to make that work. I got to adjust. I got to adapt. Or maybe I don't care about this board. I just need the cows, but somebody took the 2 cow spot, so I got to either take 3 cow spot and have my player locked in for 3 turns, or just take the 1 cow and just call it a day. It just brings a lot of interesting decisions because of how like the dynamics of like somebody blocking you from what you wanted, and then you got to either do this or do that, and also having that long-term strategy of like trying to keep everything together, keep it working and keep it moving. And one of the things that the rulebook tells you is that it's better to just kind of specialize in 1 or 2 areas than it is to kind of try to score evenly in all places. And I think I kind of agree and disagree with that. I'll talk a little bit more about that in the cons here, but for the most part, I think it's a huge pro that everything's kind of played simultaneously. It's a huge pro that you have that tactical, like here's game state by game state decisions that you're making, so it kind of makes the decision space very interesting and dynamic. And then there's also that long-term strategy of like, okay, how do I make my plan come together? Like in this case, I got basically I have free fruit. Well, every round I have 1 free fruit as long as I have an extra worker. So if I have 2 workers, I got a free fruit. And then also when I gain animals, I get more animals, so I can trigger this more frequently. You can also do some combinations with some of the tiles that you can draft. If you play the drafting variant or the tile variant, that comes with the game, and that there's some combinations you can get that are really nasty. Like I played this with my partner, and she got like this really crazy combination of things, and I was like, whoa, what's going on? And the scores weren't even close. It was wild, but what I'm trying to say is that there's a lot of variety and there's a lot of different things, and I love the strategy. Like it gives you like a lot of decision space. There's a lot to chew on, a lot to crunch on, and this game also is pretty quick. Yeah, I was kind of yapping a lot when I was doing my talk through, but it didn't take that long. Once we kind of understood what was happening, understood the rules, and maybe got like a round or 2 in, this game kind of blazes on by. It feels like a game that should take maybe 2.5 hours to play. You can really play this in like 45 minutes at worst. Even with AP involved, analysis paralysis involved. So I think that's pretty fantastic. I think it's pretty phenomenal, and I have a lot of pros for this game. Now on the con side, one of the biggest cons for this game for me is just kind of the I don't know, I don't want to say disconnect, but just kind of the I don't want to say disappointment either. Just Fromage feels better than Formaggio. I don't know how else to say it. Like Formaggio's board, I'll bring those pieces out. The scoring for the city one, or is it the town one, the kingdom one? That scoring doesn't feel good. I don't know what it is. It just doesn't feel good. And for Fromage, I feel like Fromage is just kind of like this peaceful, hey, happy-go-lucky. You look at me, you just kind of have a board game. Whereas on Formaggio, there's deeper strategy for sure because they have platinum spots, and the platinum spots essentially your pieces your workers will be stuck there for 4 turns, unless you can kind of put some special cheese over there, which you can get from the in spot over here. But the main thing is that for these ones score in a weird way, and it just the scoring just didn't feel good. I don't know how else to explain outside of saying it just didn't feel good. And to clarify, Fromage is the game I'm reviewing here, but I'm talking about Formaggio because they're basically the same game. They just have different scoring conditions and different boards, and you can mix and match them. They integrate with each other pretty well. And I feel like I don't know. This was kind of like a lackluster follow up. Like I appreciate that I got more stuff to mix and match in, like with the gondolas and everything, but it's just this feels like it hits the stride in the proper way. So I guess it's really a con against Formaggio instead of Fromage. But the reason I'm saying is because it feels like it's a little bit inconsistent. I don't know what it is. It's just this feels like a better production overall, but this just feels like a better game. So take it how you want, take it or leave it. I don't know what's the best way to say it, but essentially it just feels uneven. Mixing these two together also adds some wild variety. So I do appreciate that. But for the most part, I pretty much just play only this one, introduces this one to people, and if people really like the game, then maybe we'll look at this one. But I also play this game solo, and I feel like playing this solo, this feels way better solo than playing this, because this feels better like with people. I don't know how to explain it. Okay, so that's pretty much the biggest con for me is that. I will also say another con is this kind of Lazy Susan aspect of things. One thing that you'll notice is that I had the Lazy Susan mat. I also have, if you watch my playthrough, I have a Lazy Susan that happens to be the correct size, just about the correct size, maybe just like a smidge off. And when I'm playing at home, I will always use this giant Lazy Susan I have here. Again, I just randomly got this from Amazon because it was on like a used sale or something. I don't remember what it was, but I got it. I had to repair it, but for the most part, it works, and it's the correct size for Fromage and Formaggio. So that makes me feel very happy. But the mat is needed. So the reason why I'm bringing this up in the cons is because the fact that you're rotating this board means that it will be kind of scraping against the table you're on. So if you're playing on like a rough table, like a picnic table or something, please don't do that. But if you're playing on like a picnic table or something, or you're playing on like a the corrugated metal tables or whatever they're called, that exist in like parks and stuff, that can be very rough on the game. And this is just cardboard, so you have to be very, very, very careful. That's the only reason why I got the neoprene mat. Because otherwise, I was gonna say no, I'm not gonna spend $30 on a neoprene mat. I don't need a neoprene mat. I play on a neoprene mat. Why would I do that? But then I thought about the aspect of me, or the prospect of me bringing this game over to friends' places, bringing it over to family and playing with them. And it really dawned upon me that I really want to protect my game. So I got the neoprene mat, I got the little Lazy Susan, and it's definitely not as satisfying rotating this as if you have an actual Lazy Susan. But it is better than having the board just kind of scrape across, scrape across the table, chipping paint and ripping cardboard. So that's a con because I feel like the neoprene mat is needed for me personally. Maybe for you and for everybody else out there, you might feel differently about that. Maybe you only play on surfaces that are soft and pliable or glass or something. But I think for me it was a requirement, and that made it frustrating because it meant that I had to spend another $25-$30, and I was like, I mean, this game is already not super cheap to begin with. I think it's like a $45 game. Actually, what is MSRP for this game? If this game were $30, I'll feel much happier. Is what I'm trying to say. Sorry, I was trying to think of I was like, what's the name of this game again? Fromage. So yeah, that's just kind of me talking about the cons. The cons are not too many, especially compared to the pros. I don't think that it's a deal breaker for me personally that this game does not come with like a neoprene mat solution. I appreciate that there's one available. Oh, this is a $50 game? Ugh, $55 game. Ugh, yeah, for sure. For that price, I feel like you should just include neoprene mat, but I know neoprene mats are a little pricey, so whatever. But at any rate, having a Lazy Susan helps solve that problem. Having the neoprene mat that you can get extra helps solve the problem. And I just like the fact that I have variety for it. I like a lot of things about it, and that kind of brings me to my rating. This game flows very well, and this game plays very well. I think this game does pretty fine solo, but I do think I prefer it at max player count, and that's a pretty high bar for me. Like I don't like playing games at max player count. So as a result of that, I think I give this game a very solid 8.5. I don't really want to give 8.5 because Formaggio is just a little disappointing for me. So 8. I'll give it an 8 out of 10. So definitely not like definitely high for me. given how I rate my games normally, but definitely not like, you know, breaking too many barriers further than like just that very innovative, everybody simultaneously playing. It speeds up the game quite a bit. I played this with some friends in a game night that we had, and we were able to get like 3 or 4 games in because it played so quickly, relatively speaking, to what we would normally play. Something longer like Hegemony or something longer like a Shackles and Base. Well, I can't say Shackles and Base. We're gonna play Shackles and Base one day, but Revive or Hegemony games that take way longer. And I guess those aren't really worker placements. But my point being, we would play longer games, so we can only get like one game in, maybe like a half game of something else if we're lucky. But we can definitely get like a lot of games in this end. So that's why this game ranks pretty highly for me on the 8 out of 10. Because it just feels good. It flows well. You get some really cool like, you know, chain actions that you can do. You know, hey, because I have this, I can do this, and because I can do this, I can do that. Because I can do that, I get these over here. And because look at that, I just scored all these things, and then bam, I got a lot of points. It just feels great, and that just feels nice. And even the cons of like, you know, Fromage being a much stronger showing for me personally than Formaggio. Maybe it's because I haven't spent a lot of time with Formaggio. Maybe it's because Formaggio is just better with more people. I don't know. It's just Fromage just felt better. It felt cozier. Formaggio felt like, this is actual work. I don't know. I'm struggling just to get a point or two over here. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm biased. Maybe it's Maybelline. I don't know. But for all that said and done, though, I do think this game is really good. I do think it's really great. If you are able to grab a copy, I would recommend getting a copy and then using some kind of neoprene mat. It doesn't have to be the official one. The official one's really not needed. It's just a neat little novelty. You just get a neoprene mat for cheap and just put that under your board so you can rotate it without scratching things up. That's what I would advise, at least. Please preserve your games. Let them last forever, just in case they go out of print and you know you got the only copy left in the world. But also, you know, even with that as a con, even with you know, the follow up not being as great for me personally, I still think this game is pretty great. And even with, if I'm giving Formaggio a ranking, like yes, I talk trash about it, but I still think it's a 7.5 at least. I don't want to. I'm definitely not putting it at 8. So between 7.5 and 7.9, that's where I put Formaggio at, or the follow up to this game. Mainly because, you know, it's kind of more of the same. It has the same flow. It has the same, you know, perks that this game has. I just think it's not as fun interacting with the machines or interacting with the arenas that exist in that one than this one. This one, the arenas feel straightforward, to the point, simple, fun. And Formaggio is just kind of there for extra content. So you can throw on top of this one. Once you get bored with this, you can mix that in and just change it up a little bit, you know? And they also have different objective cards that are pretty cool, or different combinations, I should say. So that's pretty fun. All right. So I've rambled enough. I'm going to go ahead and call it there. This has been my review here for Fromage, and also my review for Formaggio, I guess. Let me know what you all think in the comments of these particular games. I hope you all enjoyed the video and the ramblings and the teach, the playthrough teach, the rolling teach. And that's it. So thank you all very much for watching. Hope you all enjoyed it. And as always, I will see you all whenever.